Thank you, Speaker. My question is to the Premier. Today in the media studio, two brave young women, Erica Crawford and Brooklyn Mills, who are joined with us today, and their families, shared heart-wrenching stories of living with the impacts of a rare disease, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, with no support from their provincial government. EDS is a genetic defect in the connective tissue causing severe dislocations, chronic pain, blackouts, nausea, migraines, lost vision, tremors, and more symptoms that add up to a very poor quality of life. When families like the Crawfords seek treatment for this life-debilitating disease, they are turned away time and again by this government. Will the Premier today commit to providing the support and treatment for those suffering with EDS?
Question. Thank you.
Minister of Health and Long-Term Care.
Minister of Health and Long-Term Care.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And first, quite frankly, on behalf of the entire legislature, I think certainly our hearts go out to the family, to the individuals that are suffering from this rare and debilitating disease, EDS. And I also want to acknowledge the individuals and the families that are here today for taking the time to come here to Queen's Park, but most of all to show the courage that they have in expressing their concerns about the treatment that they require, as well as the advocacy that they're providing. Mr. Speaker, my ministry has assured me that there are a number of Ontario specialists that can help patients who do suffer with EDS. We have highly qualified neurosurgeons with the necessary expertise, but we've heard, Mr. Speaker, and I've heard from these families that they've had difficulty in accessing those specialists and those services. And we rely on the expertise of our clinicians and our experts, but we also want to make sure, Mr. Speaker, that the process is as simple as possible for families and for individuals, and that we're making the situation easier, not more difficult.
Thank you. Supplementary.
Back to the Minister. Speaker, this afternoon I will be reading in petitions that the Crawfords have initiated with over 8,000 signatures calling for the minister's action. To this day, the story has been the same. Your ministry refuses to pay out-of-country treatments they say could be performed here in the province. And two, Ontario lacks the specialists required to perform necessary surgery in our province. Families are forced to remortgage, max out credit cards and lines of credits just to receive the out-of-country treatments that allow sufferers to stay alive. Speaker, the pain of living with EDS is enough without having to face the uncaring government that has all but abandoned them. Will the minister respond to the pleas of over 8,000 who have signed the petition and either provide the names of Ontario neurosurgeons who have experience with EDS patients to perform the necessary surgeries, or provide the funding for out-of-country treatment?
Thank you. Thank you. Minister.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I want to acknowledge the work that you've done as MPP for Brantford as well in supporting these families and advocating with my ministry on this important issue. So, Mr. Speaker, and largely, in fact, inspired by the advocacy and the stories that I've heard from these individuals and their families, I brought together a working group on how best to move forward specifically on EDS in this province, Mr. Speaker, and ensure that families do receive the support that they need. The group first met in late September and will be providing us with their recommendations in a short while. And the panel includes Critical Care Services Ontario representatives from sick kids and other leading institutions to look at ways to improve services for individuals suffering from EDS. And my ministry is also creating a special committee to, in addition to the current process, to review applications for all out-of-country funding for pediatric surgery. I hope the families can stay after question period. I would appreciate the opportunity to meet with them.